Not a lot of stuff, but some more stuff has come out in regards to the Charlie Kirk shooting. Now, let me go ahead and throw this out there right now. We still, at this moment, do not have enough information to say what the ideology of the shooter is. We have enough information to say that there are a couple of possibilities, but we don't have much more than that. And I'm just spoiling that for you right now. Reason I'm doing that is there's going to be a lot of people who automatically think that we have everything we need to go ahead and say, this is definitely a groiper. And if you don't know what a groiper is a right-wing lunatic that exists in the subculture that Nick Fuentes built of people who are definitely Nazis, but definitely not Nazis, but definitely Nazis. They are a subculture built on irony and shitposting while also being very, very dangerous. There's also a side of this where people are trying to say that the Charlie Kirk shooter was a trans advocate because his roommate/lover was trans. We don't have any actual confirming evidence that the roommate was a lover, and we don't have any confirming evidence that the roommate was trans. We have Cox, we have the governor of Utah, Cox, saying that that was the case, and that's about as far as we've got. That's not enough information to go off of. The governor of Utah can be wrong. He also has the ability to lie. Like, these are two things that can be true. And yeah, Jassa points out, if that's true, so whenever the RNC comes to town, Grindr servers get overloaded. Exactly. Even in the world where that is true, that does not necessarily mean that we have enough information to say that those things meant that this shooting was going to happen. For all we know, right now, for everything we know, Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, is not cooperating with authorities, is getting a lawyer involved, whereas the housemate/landlord/maybe lover is currently saying that no, they are going to be able to cooperate the entire time. That's what we've got right now. We also have MAGA freaking the hell out over this shit, but that's going to be maybe a separate video, maybe not. Let's go ahead and see what is going on with this. Also, just so you know, some of this information is a little bit old. Adam Cochran compiled a lot of this information. I've been seeing it from a lot of other areas, but this is a convenient area where it happens to be. So let's see what is here. So, well, there we go. We get some clarity from the Daily Mail of all places. Tyler splits a 3-bedroom apartment with roommates. One is a guy who desperately wants to be a pro gaming streamer and may be trans identifying. May. And that's the person who was cooperative with the police. But the roommate, Lance, was also the one who claimed to have Discord messages from Tyler about the shooting. But Discord showed that no, there do not appear to be any Discord messages at all. There's no evidence that the suspect planned this incident via Discord. So that's interesting. There is no indication on social media for Lance or Tyler that they are in a relationship. In fact, nothing shows them ever interacting, and Lance's profiles, which were still open, show no connection with any profiles of Tyler. There is no confirmation yet that Lance is trans. We don't have confirmation that Lance is trans. Lance's identity was revealed in separate reporting, and the trans component seems to have come from the appearance and gamer tags, not from any self-declared bit at all. His identity was revealed in a separate report emerging from Fox on the New York Post, which stated that Robinson was living with a transgender partner who's cooperating with the investigation. That's what is listed there from Fox News. So at best, maybe Lance is a housemate who is maybe trans, but has already had multiple statements to law enforcement that do not seem to be accurate. And I'm not sure about the rest of you, but I've certainly had roommates that I disliked, were crazy, and didn't politically align with me over the years. So to jump from this reporting by the Daily Mail to he has a trans lover is insane. That I agree with. Adam Cochran then goes on to say this will be the same case as the bullet casings. Some dumbass in the Cash FBI saw a minor detail, extrapolated it to the political extreme, leaked it to the press, and will backtrack it. Meanwhile, MAGA will run with it. Also, notice that the ad for the rental said current owner. Has roommates, plural, and so the remaining 2 bedrooms were $900 a month. This is a student dorm set up with like 3 or 6 people living in there, a 3-bedroom place, and an owner which has roommates in 1 room and rents 2 more out. Plus, it's worth mentioning, as one commenter brought up, Tyler could have had a trans roommate, been in a relationship with a trans roommate, and still not been a leftist. There is literally some catboy right-wing activist that did a stream with Fuentes once. Like, come on. Yeah, we also have Fuentes getting his fucking dick sucked by Destiny, apparently. We also have Fuentes going on the weird date with the catboy. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't get to go from, well, he's right-wing to, therefore he's obviously against femboys or trans people. Plus, their claim is now the trans lover was the one who provided the info to help catch Tyler. Now, that's really weird. That's really strange. Because I remember from initial reporting that it was the father who gave the info that led to Tyler Robinson's arrest. That's so weird. How did it change from the father to the trans femboy lover, which may or may not be trans in the first place? When did that change fucking happen? Well, you'll hear later today, based on other outlets speaking in the background, major publications have heard the same claim. They haven't been able to independently verify it. The main source is the same law enforcement source. So when you see that 15 different news outlets are covering this way, that doesn't mean anything because they're all fucking quoting each other. Ocean says they are one and the same, Suris. Oh, I see. So you're saying that Tyler Robinson called his landlord roommate, who was his trans lover, daddy instead of mommy. Man, the soup really does thicken. Tal says, have you seen the theories and videos claiming that the real shooter was a guy in a brown shirt that had a palm pistol? The palm pistol that had 30-06 ammo? I'm sorry, no. The angle of the shot does not lead to that. The angle of the shot does not lead to that. Imagine what would happen if they didn't fire the woman with 20 years of FBI experience. Said, no way, dude's palm would be gone with that kind of a round. Yeah, you get a round large enough and you try to put that in a palm pistol with barely any weight behind it, you are in for it. If any of you have ever shot a goddamn gun in your life, you know that the larger the gun, the more of the gun's recoil is absorbed by the girth of the gun. The smaller the gun, and the larger the round, the more blowback and the more dangerous it is for the person firing the damn thing. Like, if you have fired a gun before, which, by the way, Ocean, you and I need to shoot again, considering that this time I have my own weapons to fire as well. Also, a friend of mine wanted to come over earlier today so that we could fire like $200 worth of ammunition. I should probably invite you over around the time that we're doing that, huh? I'm not the one that paid for the ammo, and he's bringing a lot of stuff. Breakwin says it's why cocky idiots break their wrists trying to one-hand a Colt 1911. Yeah. If somebody who is used to firing guns tells you to use both arms and not fucking lock them, listen! Holy shit, you will thank me when you listen. Either your arms will thank me, either your shoulder will thank me, or your fucking chin will thank me. Or your eye, depending on how you decide to fire that damn thing. Let's see. Given they've had to walk back hyperbole and inaccurate statements from the FBI and the ATF in the past few days, credible places aren't publishing until they can actually get confirmation from a secondary source, which for a few hours has turned up dry. That doesn't mean the roommate isn't trans. Yeah, it doesn't mean the roommate's not trans. We don't have that information yet. That is information we do not have. At least we do not have it as of the 13th of September, when this was posted. Let's see here. I have CNN's live updates. 39 minutes ago is when we had our last update. So let's see what we have here. Bear in mind, that's the information that came out over the weekend. So new details from Tyler Robinson, the suspect in Charlie Kirk's murder, apparently confessed to the killing in a small chat group in the online platform Discord. That information seems to contradict earlier information. My God, I'm sorry, but how is all the information around this case constantly changing all the goddamn time? So didn't we just see the Discord themselves said no? Wild, isn't it? Wild how stupidly unreliable any of the information we're getting from any outlet is. Isn't it insane? Isn't it great? FBI Director Kash Patel provided new details about an alleged note written by the subject. His interview with Fox was highly unusual. Well, it's highly unusual because the guy is always fucking tweaking. As FBI officials and Justice Department's prosecutors generally avoid giving investigative details in a case that will be prosecuted. So then why the fuck was he doing an interview on Fox? Why is Kash Patel doing an interview on Fox on this when all of that information should be kept under wraps until they have enough information to go off of? What the hell? With the investigation into Kirk's killing ongoing, President Donald Trump is continuing to push his crime crackdown agenda. Today, he's taking executive action to send a federal law enforcement task force to Memphis and plans to send a similar one to Chicago next. Ocean says he loves social media, Suris. Yeah, but that's wild to me. That's wild to me thinking about this because, look, if you are an FBI director, any information that you leak out is going to fucking taint the case. Because when the trial comes in, you need to be able to have a group of peers who don't have fucking tainted information so that when you have the case, you can actually get an objective ruling from your jury. So given all of that, why would you constantly be throwing random fucking bullshit out there for people? Ocean says he's facing a lawsuit right now from agents that have been fired, and part of what they allege is that he is more concerned with social media than he is about police work. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that for a goddamn second. 42 minutes ago, Deputy A.G. Blanche doesn't confirm whether federal charges will come up against Charlie Kirk shooting suspect. Deputy General Todd Blanche on Monday said the Justice Department was still deciding whether to bring federal charges against Tyler Robinson. Asked by Fox News when federal charges will come, he said, well, it depends on if there's a federal charge. There's not that many murder charges that are federal. There's stalking. There's a certain deprivation of rights charges that we possibly could bring. But that's after going through all of the evidence and trying to understand what this man's motivation was in doing what he did. And if there's a federal charge, we'll bring it. No doubt about it. But if there's not a federal charge, we're going to do everything we can to support Utah and make sure that they get everything they need from us. If this becomes a federal charge, then that would be huge, because ultimately this should be within the precinct of this should be within Utah's precincts, right? Entirely, this should be Utah's thing. But apparently Donald Trump is going to try to be involved as much as he can because it's a high-profile case. CNN previously reported that federal prosecutors are evaluating possible charges that they could bring against Robinson, who is facing multiple initial state charges, including murder. He is set to make a court appearance on Tuesday. It is unclear whether any federal charges would be in addition to or replace state charges. Look, I just want to congratulate Charlie Kirk on his spot-on Ashley Babbitt impersonation. Jesus Christ. Sarah Chikorita says, I think MAGA is still trying to paint Charlie Kirk as far left, or the Charlie Kirk shooter as far left. Yeah. House Speaker said that he had hoped for more Democratic attendance and vigil for Charlie Kirk. Trump is blaming radical left for Kirk's death, but keeping quiet about far-right rhetoric. All right, this is where I've got to show you guys something. This is from Forbes.
At the request of
1 hour 45. Let me see if I can find it.
Plans and actions. This is a great opportunity with all these. Do you plan on designating Antifa finally a domestic terror organization?
Well, it's something I would do, yeah. If I have support from the people back here, I think we'd start with Pam, I think. But I would, if you give me, I would do that 100%, and others also, by the way. But Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah, there are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing, where they're throwing bricks at cars of ICE and Border Patrol. And they come in with a beautiful new car. They're so proud. It's Border Patrol, ICE, it's got whatever it is. And they're throwing rocks at it. And after 50 yards, it looks like an old beat-up vehicle. It was just brand new. It was just bought for the purposes. And they don't have to take that anymore. I let it be known. We'll take responsibility. They don't have to take it anymore. And they don't want to take it. They were told.
Wait, I stopped listening for a quarter of a second, and he's talking about cars now? How the fuck did we get to that?
It's a right thing. And I say, when they spit, you hit. Do whatever you want. You do whatever the hell you want. I watched it so sick it made me. For 4 years, I had to sit home and watch people screaming at policemen and spitting in their face, and they weren't able to do anything. They just had a grin and bear it. They're standing up like a piece of steel. And a woman, in many cases, women, you can see they're professional agitators. I had one the other night. I had 4 the other night, all in one group, total phonies. I started to scream when I got into a restaurant, oh, you know, something with Palestine. And I said, well, I'm doing a great job for peace in the Middle East. I should get lots of awards for that, right? With the Abraham Accords and everything else. But
Jesus fucking Christ. It's so hard to listen to him. Trump takes a question and then just talks about whatever's on his mind. Pretty much. Man, I want to go. Like, fucking Waffle House sounds great right now. And Waffle House sounds like I'd have a lot less oil and bile in my stomach afterwards than listening to more Donald Trump.
a woman just stood up and started screaming. And she got booed out of the place, too. There were a lot of people in the...
Is the transcript here? That's the thing that I need to check out. Do they have the transcript here? No, they don't. Okay, so there is a moment in here that I had the timestamp for back when it was the full video and not just this one right here. Let me see if maybe it's here.
White House has paid tribute to Charlie Kirk.
Right.
Do you think it would have been fitting to lower the flags to have staff when Melissa Hordman, the Minnesota House Speaker, was gunned down by an assassin as well?
I'm not familiar. The
Minnesota House...
This man is unfit to be United States president. I'm just calling that right now. This man is unfit to be United States president. No. Absolutely fucking not. Ocean says, you're noticing that now? Oh, no, it's not new information to me. It's not new information. It's just information that I hate being reminded of. So do you feel like there have been signs prior to this? Yeah, like when he got shot and said, fight, 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 instead of letting himself be taken away by security. When he thought that he was going to be the savior of the United States, he probably should have been spending more time protecting himself instead of trying to get a good fucking media photo. Or when he said he wanted to inject bleach and sunlight into people to fight COVID. Yeah, look, there have been signs, okay? I know that there have been signs.
House Speaker, a Democrat, was assassinated this summer.
Well, if the governor had asked me to do that, I would have done that. But the governor of Minnesota didn't ask me. I didn't.
So, of his own accord, he will call for people to lower the flags for Charlie Kirk. But when a different lawmaker, when a different politician, when a different pundit, when a different person is assassinated instead, who is that? Oh, who was that? Yeah, just going to a recent political assassination is pretty wild. Yeah, it is. I was in Washington, D.C. when that shit fucking happened. I got to wake up listening to that and going, oh, today might not be a safe day. Today might not be a safe day today. Jessa says, the comment literally turned me from a Trump voter to a socialist.
I wouldn't have lowering a flag.
The attack on the Pennsylvania governor's mansion. Why make the case that violence is only on one side? It seems to be taking place.
I didn't say it's on one side, but I say the radical left causes tremendous violence, and they seem to do it in a bigger way. But the radical left really is caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country. Okay, yeah, please.
This may be related to the RICO work that you're doing, and I'd like to confirm.
And we are really looking at that seriously.
Vice President Vance was speaking with Stephen Miller earlier today about targeting NGOs that they were saying foment violence.
Right.
Is that? Can you speak more to that? And what NGOs specifically are you looking to target, sir?
A number of them. Steve, please.
Yes, so I believe what you're referring to is there are these nonprofit entities that organize, as the president mentioned, attacks on ICE officers, attacks on Border Patrol agents, organize doxing campaigns, which are a violation of federal law. They break off cement and they bring into riots. They have organized drop points for weapons, organized drop points for gas masks, organized drop points for all the materials necessary to launch a riot. Of course, you saw that during the Black Lives Matter riots as well, too. So there's this whole network of organizations.
See ya, Ocean. See ya. All right. Now, again, I don't have the exact timestamp for this, but it is from this video. Reporter, there's also groups called Trans-Tifa. So perhaps you could label them a domestic terrorist group. You could take that trans flag down because it would represent Trans-Tifa. And Trump responds saying, I think I probably could. Now, it should be noted that Trans-Tifa is a thing that has been talked about in the past. Newsweek did a report on it saying it's the far-left trans movement spreading across the United States. So there has been an attempt to create this anti-trans label before. The difference is, now there is a martyr to rally around. So if you start seeing this particular statement, this particular verbiage being applied to trans people in the next couple weeks, this is where it's coming from. The good news is it didn't catch on then, so it might not catch on now. Who knows? But what I can say is that the only Trans-Tifa that I care about, personally, was the transition from video game to card that Tifa Lockhart did. And also, if Tifa was trans, then I would definitely say that HRT treated her very well. But that's neither here nor there. Ultimately, with all of this, what have we gained? What have we learned? Well, we've learned that there is a roommate that apparently cooperated with the FBI, and that roommate is a roommate of Tyler Robinson. That roommate may or may not be trans, but that doesn't seem to have anything the fuck to do with the shooting. That roommate may or may not be in a relationship with Tyler Robinson, but that may or may not have anything the fuck to do with the shooting. Again, we don't know. We know that Tyler Robinson was super into ironic internet subcultures, and the Groypers are definitely that. And we know that Nick Fuentes very quickly started disavowing this behavior shortly after it happened. I don't know if he knows that Tyler Robinson was a Groyper or not. With his fan base as large as it is, I doubt he knows any individuals in the goddamn fan base. Also, Rat Scallion, thank you for the follow. Stygander says, from what I've seen, the roommate is a onesie-wearing streamer. Yeah. Anyway, damn, that's crazy. Let's see those Epstein files. All this information is a giant distraction from the Epstein files. Once again. Also, should be noted that with all this information out there, there are people who are going to desperately try to say that this person couldn't be left-wing, and people who are desperately trying to say this person couldn't be right-wing. What you need to be telling them is that they are desperately trying to pin this on whoever they don't like, without enough information to actually go off of. And that people should be more vigilant and should be more careful right now. If it comes out tomorrow that this dude is a fucking radical Groyper who killed Charlie Kirk because he wasn't right-wing enough, then cool. That's information that we will internalize and work from there. If it turns out that he killed Charlie Kirk because he's actually a super pro-trans person and he was very angry at Charlie Kirk's language, then cool. That's information that we have to work with from there. But we don't have the ability to claim either side of that particular argument right now. That's just not something we have the information to do. Sarah says it's been suggested that Kirk was pro-release of the Epstein files, and some people take that as a potential motive. Ah, yes, a random 22-year-old with their entire life ahead of them killed Charlie Kirk so that Charlie Kirk would not convince the government to release the Epstein files. That certainly makes sense. Not really. That's a fucking jump. That's a huge fucking jump. Stygander says that Kash Patel said that they had a manifesto and they lost it, but they can prove it exists. They had a manifesto, but they lost it. They had it and they lost it. Bullshit. Bullshit. There are some things we do know for real, though. We do know that by this time, Tyler Robinson likely has a very good lawyer who has told him to not say a goddamn word, and that Kash Patel is an incompetent nincompoop and is fucking up this entire investigation. Of course, Candace Owens is saying Israel did it. Of course she is. The United States, as a whole, wants to see justice happen here, in whatever way that gets meted out. Right now, capital punishment is on the table, but we do not know what the charges are going to be yet. We do not know what the motive is. We do not know all of the history of the individual. We have a bunch of narratives that have been cobbled together by people hoping that we can convince you that this guy is definitely on the right or definitely on the left. I'm going to tell you right now, it definitely doesn't matter. What we can definitely do is if he turns out to be on the left, then we can use this as an argument not to use these tactics in the future. Don't. These are not tactics that we should be avowing. If it turns out that he's a far-right groiper, then we just shrug our shoulders and go, yeah, that makes sense. They're fucking extremists. Of course they're going to do extremist and stupid things. That makes sense. But at no point does the motive of the shooter change how we should be viewing this entire situation. Nina Nunes says, I don't know anyone that's arguing that his assassination wasn't wrong, but the right keep trying to make it true. I've seen a couple of people argue that the assassination was deserved. But here's the thing. I'm seeing that from like random Facebook posts and random Twitter posts. I'm not seeing it from publications. I'm not seeing it from large streamers. I'm not seeing it from those areas. I'm not seeing it from places of influence.
The assassination attempt, that's what the governor said yesterday. And what did that say, if you could share
So what I'm
that
able
with
to
us?
say, I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is I addressed
Why are his eyes so goddamn wide?
it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location in the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
So a note that currently doesn't exist, with no information about what's on it. They've gathered information about what was on the note because of an interview process where people could fucking lie. Kash Patel, you're an incompetent nincompoop. You're an nincompoop. I'm sorry. Just an absurd level of inconsistency with all their statements. Even Kash Patel had to hold an internal call to address the information that was being withheld from him by his own people? Wild. All this shit is wild. Yeah, there was a note. Trust me, bro. My dog ate the forensic evidence. Jesus Christ. In conclusion, we know that there was a shooter. We think it was Tyler Robinson. Somebody ratted out on Tyler Robinson. That person may have been a dad, may have been a lover, may have been trans, may have been a roommate, may have been a landlord, may have been a Discord gamer, may have worn a onesie, may have been somebody Tyler Robinson called daddy. I don't fucking know. Because none of the information that is coming out of this has been consistent. It's all fucking conflicting. When I say we don't have enough information to make a solid designation of motive or anything, it's because not only do we not have enough in the best of times, but the information we have is largely contradictory. And it keeps fucking changing. Oh my god, this entire thing is wild. I wish I had something easier to tell you than the information keeps changing and we don't know enough. But I've just spent 40 minutes wasting your time telling you that that is in fact what's happening. There's a lot of information, and we do not know enough about it. Apparently, this is Tyler Robinson's Steam account. Apparently, he spent 2,100 hours playing Sea of Thieves. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if this is actually him. Pranita says, who plays Sea of Thieves? Sea of Thieves, Antifa confirmed. Neato. That's what we got. Stay vigilant, y'all. The information coming out of this shit is wild, and it's wildly contradictory. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.